Like all good teachers, Teacher Susan was born into a family of teachers. Her granny was a teacher in the 50s and her mother in the 80s. Both were teachers of English and both followed the pedagogies of their age. Susan's granny always did her very best. She knew all the grammar rules and what was good and bad English. She didn't like hearing memorable instead of memorable, controversy instead of controversy. She was also very strict with vocabulary. In her opinion, you could meet a friend, but you couldn't meet with a friend. And meet up with a friend was an insult to the English language. And since Granny was born before the Second World War, she didn't like Germanic influences such as the use of naturally, obviously, possibly at the beginning of a sentence. Granny had studied a lot of British literature and she loved it. So she read out pieces of literature to her students and she asked them to translate as if English were a dead language like Latin or Greek. What if students made mistakes? Granny thought this was very unreasonable, if not a little devilish. Indeed, the English word error comes from the Latin verb errare, which means to walk without any specific destination. And when you walk with your nose in the stars, it's normal you get lost. So she thought him guilty, and in the most difficult cases, well, a good slap in the face helped a lot. On the other hand, the good imitators could do nothing wrong. She rewarded them with sweets and toffees. Susan's mom had been young in '68. She had the chance to travel and mix with other youngsters from other parts of the world. As a result, she improved her foreign languages by speaking and listening, practicing and interacting in real situations with real Hmong tongue speakers. She could not give a damn for Granny's good English, nor for her grammar and moralistic literature. She loved English in its sounds. Rock music can't speak any other language. Authentic English was what she liked, with typical expressions, swear words, and slang. When Mom decided to become an English teacher, she tried to teach her students through a communicative model. Language isn't something to be learned out of books. It's something functional, used to interact with other people and their cultures. So she never talked too much about grammar, just enough to keep oral communication going. The thing is that, in her enthusiasm, she gave a lot, but she never asked herself what her students were really learning, until it was time for testing. When it came to testing, her students had developed terrible pronunciation without her realizing it. They were not efficient in communication either because they weren't very creative. They were also speaking rather badly because they didn't really know how and when to use grammar structures or certain words. Something had gone terribly wrong. She tried to analyze their mistakes with the help of error analysis categories. She found out, or so she thought, that they made these mistakes because they had the habit of translating everything in their minds. To Mom, this was a nightmare. It was Granny's translation method again. No, even worse. Her students translated from their own language into English.